Welcome to the OCO podcast. Today you're going to learn how to pull and read an ESR from GRME. And we're going to start right now. All right, now we're going to learn how to pull and read an ESR. So before gaining access to GCS Army, you're going to have to complete your GTrack certs. I'll show that on the next page. You're going to have to complete a DD Form 2875, a SAR, and you're going to have to get approval from your maintenance control section. So to begin, we're going to go to the GCS Army homepage. You're going to click on the GTrack icon circled in red right here, and you will likely need, I believe you need a CAC reader to continue. So you're going to complete the top row, the Common Core. There's 6 courses that you need to complete. 5 of them will give you a cert, 1 will not. You're going to provide those certs and that SAR to your maintenance control. If you're curious, each row has different levels of leadership requirements. So there's one for the commander, one for S4, one for the ERPS clerks, the SSA, finance, etc. Once you've been approved by your maintenance control, go back to the GCS Army homepage and click on the green arrow to take you to the actual website. So it'll take you to this page. If you're going to bookmark any of the pages, make sure it's this one, not the previous one. Go ahead and click on I accept, and then we'll continue. So next you'll be taken to the GCSA portal, and you're going to click on Win GUI, here circled in red. Once you wait for it to load, it'll open up a pop-up window, and we'll show that on the next slide. So pulling the ESR, once GCS Army opens up, click on or type in the ZEquest T code in the bar, and then click on the green check. You'll likely need to save this T code as a favorite before you start seeing it there. So if your unit has any variants, then you're going to click on the Get Variant button here at number 1. You could also do some custom inputs by putting in a UIC into the force element here at number 2. Usually that'll be your own UIC or someone else's UIC if you're trying to look at their stuff. You can additionally change the fault statuses to either deadlines, slashes, dashes, or a combination of them all. Up next, you're going to delete the created by number. It's going to be your DoD ID. Unless you actually created that variant, and just get rid of it because it'll mess it up. Then just type whatever you need to into the variant box. Like I said earlier, if you're only pulling for your own unit-sized element, just put your UIC and you should be fine. Once you're ready to continue, click Execute over there at number 3. If you change the status selection to an asterisk, then you're going to get the wide open variant. And this is going to include all of the slash faults, dash faults, and the deadlines. If you enter NMC asterisk on the top, located at number 2, and an X on the bottom instead, you'll only have the deadlining faults. So this is important if, depending on what you're trying to pull for. Make sure that you have the A to T category located at number 3. A to T is the most commonly used one, but you could also use A to E and A to Z, just depending on what kinds of equipment you're trying to pull. And then click on Execute when you're ready for the next step. Now that you got into the ESR, to get a PDF version, go ahead and click on the print button here located at number 2. It is important to note, though, that this is the screen where you can edit remarks, and I'm going to get to that later on in the video. You can also highlight all and then right-click anywhere on the ESR, and then click on Spreadsheet to export an Excel document that you can use to filter. All right, and then after clicking on Print, this window is going to pop up. Then you're going to click on Print Preview at number 2 to continue generating that ESR. Once you get here, you're going to type in PDF exclamation point into the bar located at number 1, and then click on the green arrow. Now click on Save, located down at the bottom. And just a quick note, you're going to have to go to wherever you save this document because it's not going to auto open like some of the other GRME stuff. And now you have it. Got your PDF ESR, and that's how you pull it. So now that you learned how to pull an ESR, I'm going to show you how to read it and what everything means. All right, up first, we got number 1, which is going to be the UIC of the owning unit. Number 2 is going to be the description of the owning unit, so it has the name of whatever unit you're pulling for. And then number 3, it has the number of deadlined equipment for the owning unit. So in this case, this unit right here has 12 items deadlined on their ESR. Next, you have number 1, the model type. So you can see here it's an M2A3 Bradley. Number 2, you got the admin or bumper number. Number 3, you have the serial number. And number 4, you have the operation status. So it's either going to be fully mission capable, non-mission capable for services, or non-mission capable for maintenance. You can see number 4 in red and number 4 in blue, the different types. So then next you have the equipment description. So it's kind of weird. It doesn't always say like Bradley fighting vehicle, whatever, but this is what it looks like in the case of the M2A3. And after that, you have number 6, which is the equipment readiness code, the ERC. So you either have ERC P or ERC A. The ERC P is basically pacing items. It's your most important, most critical items. And then your ERC A is going to be your legacy or everything else. And then number 7, you have the number of days it's been deadline. So you can see this Bradley is not currently deadline. That's why it has 0. If you look down at the blue 7, at that, it looks like a JVCP. That's been deadline for 237 days. All right, here on the next page, number 1, you have the default status. So I pulled the wide open version, so it's going to have the X's, slashes, dashes, all that stuff. Number 2, you have default description, so what's actually wrong with the piece of equipment. And then number 3, the NIN. Quick note, a NIN is basically an NSN just without the first 4 digits. And then number 4, you have the part description. So that's the actual part that's been ordered. Up next, you have the part order status. So at number 5, so you're gonna have either 45 status, 18 status, 71 status, 10 status. And this basically just shows you where the part is at in the ordering process. So 45 status, the first 2 numbers in yellow, you can see 45. That basically means it's on order. And then 18, that means it's at the SSA. 71, it means that it needs to be processed by the SSA. And 10 status means that it's waiting funding. That's kind of like a generic overview for the most common ones you're going to see. I also want to note that for 18 and 10 status, you may also see 19 and 11 status. So because there's been so many orders, it finally ticked over from 18, that big ass number, from 18 to 19, and from 10 to 11. And then number 6, you got the priority level. So you have 02, 05, and 12. 02 is basically going to be your deadlines, 05 is going to be your slashes, and then 12 is pretty much just going to be like at convenience for the most part. And then at number 7, you have the estimated ship date. So this is important because you can start to forecast when those parts are going to ship, and you can usually add, depending where it's coming from, 1 to 2 weeks before it gets to your location. And then you can kind of have an idea of when that part will be installed and when you can get that piece of equipment or that fault fully mission capable or removed. All right, up next, then we got the quantity ordered, quantity on hand, quantity issued, and quantity at the next level. So number 1, quantity ordered, that's whatever you put on order, how many. Number 2, the on hand. So this means that the clerks have picked it up from the SSA and it's at the battalion level. So it might be in a BOH, it might be in the parts room, but it has not been issued yet, the quantity issued to the unit. So once you see the quantity issued, that means that your whoever picks up your parts from the clerks can go and get that and then get it installed on that piece of equipment. Quantity at next level, that's basically how many are at the SSA. So right here, number 4, if you go down, you see the 50 and nothing next to it on the right, no order code status. If they were to put that part on order, then it would likely go to 71 status. The SSA would then process it. It would turn to either 18 or 19 status, and then you'd be able to go pick it up and install it. All right, and then here's the remarks. So this is what I talked about earlier. So number 1, you can have the equipment remark or a parts remark over at number 2. So each part can get its own remark, and you're gonna go to IGC, which is another website. You're gonna check it for part statuses and then update these remarks on each part based off of whatever it says. So it might tell you that the requisition is modified. It might tell you that it's left a certain city and state. Might tell you that it's back ordered, etc. Over here at number 3, you can see the date that this piece of equipment was deadlined. And then at number 4, you're going to have your system condition date. So this is basically going to be like a last action date. So if you look just to the left of that, left of the NIN for that engine diesel, you can see December 14th, 2023. So that was when that part was put on order. And now in yellow, the January 11th, this likely means that that part was picked up, and that's why it shows on hand. So then number 5, we're going to show on the next page, but this is the system condition. And I'm going to go ahead and pause right here so that you can screenshot this if you need to. It should tell you what's going on with that piece of equipment. So if it's been evac'd, waiting on non-NMC parts, or if it's awaiting parts at schedules, if it needs to be inspected, if it's in shop being worked on, or if it's a waiting shop. You're going to see a lot of a waiting shop for the most part, unless it's actually being worked on. A lot of times these don't get like fixed. Just make sure you get on your guys to fix it and put it in the right condition code. And then up next, I got that smart card cheat sheet for you. So you can pause here, take a screenshot or whatever, but this might be a helpful tool for you to use. You thought reading the ESR was important? It's only scratching the surface for what you need to know as an Army leader. Don't worry though, because we got you covered. Watch this video next to get some resources that all Army officers should have, or click on this playlist to watch more LPDs from the OCall podcast.